Hello, English-speaking people watching this video. Some time ago, I started a special series on this channel of EWTN Low Countries, a special channel, a special series which I call FilioQue, to stress the importance of this dogma and the way how the FilioQue has really given us a criteria to have a look at our Christian history, our Christian culture, and also our Christian reality today. I started it in Dutch. I've made some programs in English. It's a kind of reflection on the church that I love, on our situation today in the church, and also to develop a sharper vision on the world today and what Christ's truth is today. What light does he want to shed on our reality, and how do we go on with this church in the situation we find ourselves? Now, I had sort of, I'm not saying I've given up, but I had stopped making videos in English, but I think today there's a special actuality to start again. There's two realities. First of all, the war in the Ukraine. I think that in this war there's a lot of truths that are hidden, that we didn't see, that will come to light bit by bit, step by step. This war goes very, very deep, and it goes also very deep in our common Christian ground. And I think we must reflect on this war, not just help these poor people whose lives are destroyed by an attack which is hardly imaginable. We should help these people by all means, but we must also reflect on what this war shows us about our Christian roots. And I say this especially now with urgency, because next week, the 25th of March, our Pope, Francis, has promised to consecrate Russia and Ukraine to the Immaculate Heart of Our Lady. And of course, all Catholics that are more or less traditional, or that more or less know their faith, they will know the importance of this thing for the vision of Our Lady in Fatima, the visions of Our Lady in Fatima, the apparitions of Our Lady. She wasn't just seen, she was really there. Something is not quite right here. Of course, many people immediately make the link with Fatima. But something is not quite right, because Our Lady asked in Fatima the consecration to her Immaculate Heart of Russia. She did not mention the Ukraine. The other thing that is not quite right is that the consecration to her Immaculate Heart was immediately linked to the errors that Russia would spread. Now, the amazing thing is that this was said in 1917, after the overthrow of the Tsar, but before the Bolshevik Revolution, so after, let's say, the Liberal Revolution and before the Bolshevik or Communist Revolution. And so a poor peasant girl in Portugal could not possibly know what was going on in Russia and what could go happen. So when Our Lady talks to this girl and talks about the spread of errors starting in Russia, that's pretty amazing. And that she asks the consecration to her Immaculate Heart because of errors spreading from Moscow, that should make us think today. Why does Pope Francis not mention these errors? He mentions a country that Our Lady did not mention, and he does not mention these errors of Russia. Why? Because Russia is no longer spreading these errors? Or is it? Were the errors communism? If you study the theology, if you like, or the ideology, whatever you call it, of the Soviet Union, you will see that it has changed quite a bit. It started with universal communism, the Communist International, in which Trotsky so fervently believed. But Stalin didn't believe in it much, so he changed the doctrine and said socialism in one country. Trotsky particularly enjoyed murdering priests. The founder of the secret services, which are actually called special services in Russia, Felix Dzerzhinsky, he was a Polish Catholic and he started regretting murdering priests. But Stalin, he even got the Russian Orthodox Church on the boat during the Second World War. He needed orthodoxy to defend his country. So the teaching of Russia has changed a lot. Which were the exact errors? Or maybe must we go back further? Before the revolution. Anyway, this sort of confusion has encouraged me to start reflecting on not just this war, but also the deeper spiritual causes of this war. And why, and for me this is amazing, why somebody like Archbishop Vigano can end a long letter in which he says many things that are true, or many things that at least make you reflect and wonder if they are true, but how he can end his letter with a kind of, for him maybe hopeful remark, that Moscow as Third Rome will save us from disaster in the Western world, from globalism, the New World Order, the Great Reset. To reflect on Russia, what it is and how it is today. We need some time, but we need to reflect also on the differences between Russian Orthodoxy and our Catholicism. The light I want to use as a source for this is the Catholic dogma, which is really for me the trademark of our church, of our Catholic Church. And that is the FilioQue. The Holy Spirit breathes, proceeds from Father and from the Son. The Father and the Son form a celestial, incomprehensible, eternal, glorious unity. Because in their unity as one principle, as St. Thomas of Aquinas says it, they are source of the Holy Spirit. It sounds very dogmatic, abstract, far away, and therefore maybe irrelevant, but I think it's the key for understanding what happens today. That's why in Dutch I started making some reflections from this beautiful place. I started recording some reflections about the FilioQue, about the secret services in Russia, about Putin, who makes the headlines today, about the Ukraine, about history, about our own church. And it's not a hobby. Well, actually it's a hobby, but it's a very serious hobby, and I hope it's a contemplative hobby, to reflect on this and help untie this very, very complicated knot and see, that's the most important thing, what God asks from us today. I hope there will be more videos after this one. I'll do my best.